Hi, Kevin Coop here, and this is FaceTime with the Content Guy. Okay, I know I'm obsessing about this story a little bit, but it's just frankly so interesting I can't help but come back to it. It is, of course, the story of Ron Johnson, the just deposed CEO of JCPenney, and I'd like to come at it from a somewhat different angle. Now, listen, we all know the outlines of the story, right? Johnson was at least partially responsible for the Apple Store, which is a phenomenal retail concept. 17 months ago, he gets hired by JCPenney to reinvigorate that company, which was having its problems. Iconic retailer, but getting really stale. 17 months later, sales are down. Their losses are enormous. Their customer traffic is really going down. It's a big problem. They fire Johnson. They bring back the guy they had there before him, which, as far as I'm concerned, is just, I don't understand it. You know, that's like some weird combination of desperation and absolutely no vision. And that strikes me as being a little dangerous for a retailer to have. So that's where we are. Now, Fast Company is out with a look at Johnson's tenure. And what they do is they use an interview that he did with them back in January of 2012 to sort of look at why things went so badly off the rails. And they find some clues in his some of the things he said during that interview. Now, I'll put a link to that in the text version of this commentary. But there's one passage that I thought was really interesting that I'd like to focus on. And that passage goes like this. He said, "My three favorite words in the English language are 'in the beginning,' and that's how I view this. This is like we're a big $18 billion startup, and we're going to act like a startup in how we make decisions. We can move as fast as we're willing to, and we're going to win shop by shop, month by month. So every month there'll be something new at Penny's, and there'll be new shops coming in every month, and eventually we'll have 100 shops, and we'll just keep moving." Well, not so much. Anyway, as Fast Company points out, and I think we'd all agree, JCPenney wasn't a startup. It was a big company with a long history. It had lots of existing problems and it had some advantages as well. But the legacy that it had could not just be made to go away with a wand, with a magic wand, even if that magic wand was made by Apple. There's certain things even Apple can't do. You know, funny enough, I was having a conversation about this very subject with my younger brother, Tim, who's worked for big technology companies and small technology companies before he decided to give it all up, be a stay-at-home dad, then get a degree in education and become a teacher. Sounds a lot like my wife. But one of the things he was telling me the other day is that in his experience, you know, the companies that succeed are the companies that start with a clean slate, have a clean sheet of paper in front of them. That when you don't have that, it's very, very difficult to re-engineer a culture so it can do the kinds of things that startups can do. And I really agree with him on that 100%. I mean, isn't that the problem with the U.S. Postal Service, right? U.S. Postal Service, they just can't, because of the legacy issues, because of all the problems they have, it's almost impossible for them to re-engineer the place for a 21st century postal service. It just doesn't seem like they can do it, and maybe it can't be done. You know, to my mind, that's one of the problems that Walmart is going to face as it competes with Apple. You know, Walmart has got this, supercenter structure, and basically they've kind of genetically engineered it. So there are antibodies everywhere that are designed to defeat any disease that might threaten its supercenter business. But, the online business is going to threaten the supercenter business in some ways. All the business can't just come from the competition. And so they're going to have a real internal struggle. It's going to be sort of like Steve Martin in All of Me, where the spirit of Lily Tomlin invades his body and he's torn this way and that way. That's going to be a problem they're going to face. I mean, Amazon may be the ultimate clean sheet business because they make it a point constantly to get together and say, okay, how are we going to disrupt our business from within? Because if we don't disrupt our business from within, somebody else is going to be disrupting our business from the outside. And you know what you call people who are disrupting your business from the outside? Competition. They can't afford to let that happen. So they've sort of engineered a clean sheet into their cultural DNA. Listen, this is all really, really hard. I don't want to minimize it. I don't want to say it's easy, but it may be key to surviving in the 21st century is doing what Amazon has done and engineering this into your culture. Here's the reality. If we moved deeper into the 21st century, the things change so fast. Consumer needs evolve constantly, and, the next technology revolution may be just around the corner. If companies want to be relevant, they have to think, and their leaders have to think about one kind of legacy. And that is the legacy that happens when you actually adapt to change. The legacy that happens when you are able to take a company and not just survive through changes, but also to thrive. Anyway, that's what's on my mind this Thursday morning, and as always, I want to hear what's on your mind.